looked forward to this all week actually. I hope you all had a lovely weekend. I definitely had a really good weekend, so I hope and pray that you guys had a really good weekend, and I pray that you all are doing well. For today's show, actually, we have a very interesting, lineup of topics. Actually, we are going to be talking about mental health, all things mental health. It's the mental health week this week, and so we thought it's a good opportunity to talk about mental health. People don't come out and talk about it often, especially in ethnic minority communities. So we thought it'd be nice to speak about mental health, different disorders, speak to a few people, probably get to know their personal experiences. So we're going to be talking about mental health in the first hour of the show, and we actually have two very interesting guests lined up for you. So you can give us a call and share your views on mental health. Tell us if you think we don't talk enough about issues about our mental illnesses. Do you think we take it seriously or not? Do you think we need events or workshops about mental health? Anything about mental health that you would like to share with us. We're also going to be talking about a very welcoming step. The Muslim Council of Britain announced that it's going to be training more women to run mosques, which was obviously welcomed and taken very positively by a lot of people around the UK. And Alhamdulillah, Peterborough stands as a very good example where women are very involved in mosques, and on the mosque committee, they're always volunteering and organizing events. So they're very active in the mosque, and it sets out as a very good example, Peterborough. So we're going to be talking about that in the next half of the show. So, first half, we're talking about mental health, like I said, and actually, the first guest is already on air, ready to talk to us. Her name is Sylvia Carlos, and she's a freelance journalist who works for BBC and has also been, working on a documentary for the BBC on mental health, and she even featured in one of the topics of discussion was mental health, and she featured on that program last year to share her personal experience. So she's joining us on air to talk about her experiences and to, tell us more about what is mental health really, what categorizes as mental health, and are we doing enough or are we talking about it enough? So we've got Sylvia on air. Hello, Sylvia. Good evening.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Most welcome. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. Today is a good mental health day.
Yes. Yes. So, we're talking mental health. What can you share with us, for people who don't know the different categories? Do you think you can briefly describe to us what exactly comprises of mental health?
Okay, well, ultimately, everybody has mental health. Mental health it's a condition in terms of your psychological and emotional well-being. So a lot of people we have physical health, we have mental health. A lot of people think the term mental health itself is an illness or disorder. Everybody has mental health. What it goes down to is, do you have good mental health? Do you have bad mental health? Is your mental health and sort of emotional well-being, is it detrimental? Is it affecting you daily? Is it debilitating you? And that is sort of when it goes into being a disorder or like a long-term issue.
Yes.
And I think people often get that very confused.
And, people don't come out and talk about this. Even issues like anxiety, stress, depression, they're very seldom spoken about. Do you think we need more platforms, or we need to encourage more people to talk about this and not shy away from these things?
100%. From my experience, especially being, in an ethnic minority, we have a bit of an issue where we sort of, it's almost like we think it's something made up or make believe. I don't want to say it's because I'm the younger generation, but I'm just very vocal. I will speak about mental health issues like I will speak about going to buy a pair of trainers or going to get a coffee.
Yes.
Just because I think that to a certain point you need to lead by example. I know that I have a mental health disorder, and I know that I have learned to understand what it means for me. And by speaking about it and encouraging open dialogue, that's how people are going to be they're going to be able to have
Embrace it better, probably, yes.
Exactly,
Yep.
exactly that.
You featured on this show last year, I think, if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, on the BBC show, and you spoke about mental health disorder that you were personally experiencing.
Yeah.
What was it, and how did you overcome? What did you do to make it all better?
Okay, so the BBC documentary was a radio BBC one and one extra. The title was called The Secrets to Good Mental Health, and that was presented by Mim Sheikh.
Yep.
I think he's a known presenter on Asian Network.
Yes.
But no, so for me, it was discussing the whole part of the documentary. We attended a workshop, a really, really good workshop. I recommend it. And it was about discussing how institutions and places and what practices they can put in to make people that maybe stay in institutions and come under the experience, what could help make their mental health experience better. And for me, it was discussing things like music. For me, music's a really big thing that makes me feel so much better.
Okay.
So it was those little things, and it's just really good that these things are getting picked up and commissioned now because they're out in the mainstream. I'm currently working on a documentary that will be coming out by the end of the year, and it goes into more detail sort of about my disorder and one of my friends, and we speak from a first-person narrative, so you get to understand how it actually affects us daily. Because I think sometimes, you can hear someone's got depression, someone's got anxiety, and some people cannot connect and really understand until somebody's in front of them really explaining, this is how it affects me, this is what it means for my life.
Absolutely.
I mean, it is quite natural, unless it's a personal experience or, it's your friend, it's a mum, it's a dad, a sister, or someone related or close to you. Sometimes people can think, it doesn't affect me, it's not going to affect me, not realising that realistically 1 in 4 people, it does affect.
It is that high. I mean, the numbers are quite alarming, actually. WHO, it says that 1 in 6 people are affected by common mental health problems which are not spoken about. Do you think even lack of communication adds up to this?
I think it's lack. I don't think it's so much lack of communication. I think to a certain degree it can be ignorant. It could be ignorance. I think some people, they don't want to accept that this is a thing.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, more often you see people just brushing it under the carpet. It's actually, they don't think that it's actually a real illness, like physical illness. Mental illness is actually an illness. So
yeah, I mean, I attended an event about a month ago, and I was discussing mental health, and I overheard a gentleman, I don't know, mid-40s, and he was discussing, saying, I find it really funny that people speak about mental health. He's like, I think it's very weird. When I came here from my country originally, he's like, yeah, we had a hard life.
Yep.
We weren't crying about mental health.
Yep.
So I think to some degree it is a generational issue as well.
Because they haven't heard it from their elders, probably. No one in their community or family spoke about it. So it went on and on until probably, the younger generation, like you mentioned, you are a younger generation, they're coming out and being more vocal about it. So I think that's when people are getting more aware of it. I think it's also lack of awareness. And also it's always been a very sensitive topic, mental health. And that's how probably it has stayed for so many generations. So people probably are finding it difficult to relate with it and accept it that actually, this is a reality. This happens and it's actually an illness.
Exactly. And I think my main thing is it's okay to speak about it. It is not, me having a disorder is not the end of the world. And also sometimes being diagnosed with something, you are able to, once you've got the information in front of you, there is so much that you can do with it to better yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah. Sylvia, what would you suggest as a youngster and the future generation? What would you think can help this situation? How can you think? What do you think the youngsters can do to make the situation better, or even elders probably, do you think educating parents, educating mothers can probably be a solution? What would you suggest? It should be a step that everybody should take probably on this occasion of Mental Health Week.
In terms of awareness, I think everybody is at a different part of their journey in terms of how they feel.
Yeah.
But I think people with, I don't think that it should be so much a burden that people with mental health issues should go out and sort of make everyone understand. But I think people that don't have mental health issues also need to be open-minded to understand that it can affect anyone, because I think some people don't realise that, like I said, it doesn't discriminate. I think even rolling it out into schools, and like you said, look, we're on a radio now discussing it.
Yep.
Having it being discussed in mainstream social scenarios, just talking about it, and almost, when I say not making a big deal about it, putting it into everyday conversation. I think sometimes when you make that big fuss over it, it becomes, I don't know, it almost becomes a trend. Like, okay, we'll talk about it for 5 minutes, or maybe we'll get bored. Whereas if you roll it out so casually all the time, then it's no longer a trend. It is just a part of society.
Yes.
And I think that even comes into, the workplaces and that. Are we doing enough to make sure that people that have mental health issues are included? Are we making environments that are inclusive?
No, that's a very valid point you've made, to make it inclusive and to really, are we talking enough? That's a very valid point and valid question you're asking, Sylvia. Thank you so much for joining us today and sharing these, very valuable inputs with us. We really appreciate it.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Okay.
That was Sylvia talking to us about the, mental health issues and how she thinks we need to talk more about this. I agree as well. I think we need to do more. We need to talk more. We need to have conversations, like normal conversations about this, and accept the fact that this is a reality. It can affect anyone, and it need not be a shameful thing. Sometimes it could be stress related, anxiety, depression, all these things. They're common mental health problems, and we need to talk about this. And more often than not, we don't realize there are solutions to this, and just probably talking to someone, communicating with someone can probably help you, find solutions, find answers for this. So I think all of us need to do more about, embracing and talking about mental health. And this is a good occasion to start doing that, the Mental Health Awareness Week. We're going to be talking more about this. We're going to be joined by another guest, Sister Safura Houghton. She's going to be joining us very shortly on Salaam Radio. But until then, I think we should hear a lovely track, lovely nasheed, and come back and carry on talking about mental health. But you are free to give us a call as well and talk to us about what you think. Do you think mental health is still a taboo in a lot of communities? Or do you think we are becoming open-minded, we are talking about it, we are doing a lot? And, or maybe you have a suggestion, anything about mental health that you want to talk to us, give us a call on 01733 602 133. You can also text us and WhatsApp us on 07745 278 978. Do join in the conversation. But first, let's have, let's listen to this track, but do come back after this.
I will praise you in the morning, to the sunset in the evening. I will praise you, I will praise you. When I'm drowning underwater, in the deepest, darkest ocean, I will praise you, I will praise you. And I was born to praise you, I was born to praise you. And I was born to praise you. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Creator, made our prophets walk on water. I will praise you, I will praise you. In all of our misfortune, fall on you to rise above it. I will praise you, I will praise you. And I was born to praise you, I was born to praise you. And I was born to praise you. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. You are the creator, and all that matters. We seek Allah for protection. You have my whole heart and affection. We worship you and only you are perfection. The Quran is what we're tested on and life is the lesson. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I will praise you in the morning, to the sunset in the evening. I will praise you.
Welcome back. So we were talking about Mental Health Awareness Week, and we just spoke to Sylvia on the air before going, before listening to the nasheed. We spoke to her on air, and she told us about her personal experience that she was going through, mental health, and also about how she thinks we need to talk more, we need to, do more to embrace this. Now on the line we've got Safura Houghton, Sister Safura Houghton. She's joining us, and she is the community events organizer for the Lantern Initiative. Now this is a not-for-profit organization which organizes awareness workshops for mental health, and does a lot of events and does a lot of work actually in this area, mental health area, especially for Muslim communities. And now she's joined me on the line. Assalamu alaikum, sister.
Wa alaikum salam, Shariqua. How are you?
I'm all right, alhamdulillah, thank you. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm good, very well.
Thank you for joining us today and, talking to us about such an important topic, mental health. I know you do a lot of work in this area, don't you?
Well, we've been doing a little bit in Peterborough. So the Lantern Initiative was founded in 2015, so we've been going for about 3 years. And the reason it was founded initially was to bridge the gap in mental health support services, primarily for the Muslim community. Now, we all know that, funding cutbacks and things like that happen. The NHS doesn't have enough funds to kind of keep mental health services going. But when you look at Muslim communities and, other minority ethnic communities, the mental health support services just aren't adequate. There just isn't enough support available. I know we've spoken to families where they've had to wait for up to a year just for their child to get seen for something like ADHD or, anxiety issues at school. And I think that, when you look at the issues, I think that mental health is so wide. It's such a big topic. I mean, you've got depression, anxiety, you've got things like exam stress at schools, you've got, anxiety, panic attacks, you've got, things like, you've got illnesses like Alzheimer's. There's so much stuff there that needs to be covered.
Yeah.
And I think in general, in the Muslim community, these topics aren't really being talked about enough. I think there's still a lot of stigma attached. And this is why we founded the Lantern Initiative, to kind of bring to the forefront of people's minds, that mental health does affect us as a community as well. and that, as Muslims, surely we should be looking after our health, and our mental well-being is just as important as our physical well-being.
Absolutely. How has the response been? Do you think people are embracing, people are coming forward to attend these kind of events?
Yeah, I think it's changing all the time. We initially started off by doing women's events, and I have to say, every time we have a women's event, we tend to be fully booked. We tend to completely sell out spaces. So I know the need is there. Unfortunately, when we have male events or mixed events, the response is not as great. And I do think it's probably because it's still a bit more of a taboo attached to male mental health. We don't really talk about it in the communities. But that's not a reason to give up. I think we need to keep on at it, and start to perhaps bring it more into mosques and community groups and things like that, so that people are seeing it more, hearing about it more. I don't know if you heard about our recent event, but we had an event called Peace of Mind at the Key Theatre in Peterborough just a week ago, actually. And that was a screening of mental health documentaries that were made by Muslims. And it was a range of films that were highlighting the stigma and the challenges that are faced by Muslims, especially young Muslims. And we had a speaker there as well, Nazim Uddin. And as a young Muslim male, just hearing his story, I think really blew people away. I think it was very refreshing for a Muslim audience, or actually a mixed audience, to hear a young Muslim male come forward and speak so openly, so candidly about his mental health and his journey. And actually he talks about how he lost his faith along the way, and how as an adult he's rediscovered his faith as a Muslim, and how it's made him a much stronger person. And I think really what we need to do is, we need to face up to the fact that these things do happen in our community. These ideas do exist in young people's minds. Things like suicide as well, it does cross people's minds. Young people as well today are under a lot of pressure at school, to perform and pass exams and things like that. So there's a lot to consider. There's a lot to think about. That was a real eye-opener.
Your initiative is amazing, and the event that you organized, that was amazing too. Sorry, excuse me.
That's okay.
Obviously, there's a need to do more.
Definitely. Yeah. I think, I think that there's different work needed in different areas. You've got, mental health in schools is something that's huge that needs to be tackled at the moment. So when you look at students, young people, children who are going through exams, so that's, a whole area that we need to look at. And then you've also got women on the other side. We've got a lot of women who are going through domestic violence issues, and that contributes largely to post-traumatic stress disorder, anxieties, other mental health issues. So, some of the problems that exist in our communities actually do have a knock-on effect, or a direct effect on people's mental health and well-being. So, it's really up to us as a community to look into these issues and to see where we can try to nip problems in the bud, try to address these problems at their roots, so that they're not kind of manifesting themselves as depression or mental health problems in people.
There were some statistics. In fact, you had provided me these statistics earlier. Almost, 50% of people in developed countries, and between 75 and 85% of people in developing countries with, severe mental health problems do not receive treatment at all.
Yeah, the statistics are quite shocking, actually.
They're very alarming, I thought.
Yeah, absolutely. Even in Britain, 1 in 4 people will experience a mental health problem in any given year. And what's even more shocking is that 28% of people will wait for more than a year to tell their family about their mental illnesses. So it's actually quite shocking that people can't talk, people can't openly be themselves and admit that they're having problems, that they're having issues. But I think, for us as a Muslim community, I think it's even more important that we talk about these issues, because when you look at Muslim history, you've got people like Ibn Sina, known in the West as Avicenna, who was the founder of modern medicine. He rejected the concept of mental illness being linked to things like evil spirits, and he actually viewed mental disorders as conditions that were, properly physiologically based. Then you've got people like Muhammad ibn Zakaria al-Razi. He was one of the greatest Muslim physicians. He established one of the first psychiatric hospitals in Baghdad in Iraq. And he used to treat mental health issues with psychotherapy and drug treatment. So actually, as a Muslim community, I think we need to realise that these are not new issues. They've been there for a long time, and we need to tackle them as a community, just as we should. Our faith instructs us to look after our health and our well-being, and mental health is a part of that.
Absolutely. I mean, those really useful points that you made. Sister, we're going to be taking a really short break, but do stay with us, and we're going to have, we're going to talk to you more about this. We're going to take a short break, and we're going to come back. Please do come back. We're talking about mental health.
Stay tuned to Salaam Radio after this short ad break.
The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "The best house is that house in which an orphan is treated kindly." 140 million children around the world today are orphans, living with no hope of a future or an education. For just 50 pence a day, you can transform an orphan's life and give them the secure future they deserve. Call 03000 11 11 11 now, or visit www.pennyappeal.org. Penny Appeal, small change, big difference.
Feel like some great tasting chicken tonight? Great meal deals, wraps, burgers and sides. We've got it all at Chicken Palace. Call and collect at 302 Lincoln Road on 01733 702 447 or 8 Park Road on 01733 343750. Chicken Palace, open 11 a.m. till late.
This October sees the return of the Perkins Great Eastern Run in Peterborough, a half marathon and fun run. Run with Team Orange to take part with Penny Appeal and get active for a great cause. Walk, jog or run. Find out more and sign up today at pennyappeal.org/event/Great Eastern Run, or call or message Harun Mota on 07714 249 215 or email at harun.mota@pennyappeal.org. The Great Eastern Run with Penny Appeal, Sunday 14th of October. Sign up today.
Had a car accident or an accident at work? Accident specialists are experts in no-win, no-fee accident claims. Leave the hassle to us. Our multilingual settlement experts will manage the entire claims process on your behalf, with nothing to pay up front. We provide services such as credit hire, taxi vehicles, recovery, storage and much more. For full details on our range of services and a free consultation, call us on 01733 555 774 or visit our office at 249 Lincoln Road opposite the NatWest Bank. Accident Specialists. Start your successful claim today.
Al Murad Tiles. With over 70 stores nationwide, we are now open in Peterborough. Up to 50% discount offers now on. Largest selection of tiles. Full bathroom suites from only £189. Paint, LED lighting, laminate flooring from only $7.99. Over 1,000 designs of wallpaper in stock. We have everything you need. Come and visit us at 193 Fengate, Peterborough, PE1 5BH, or call us on 01733 34 58 47. Al Murad Tiles, now open.
Need a great place to chill out? Look no further than The Lounge for quality food and drinks at a great price. Try our varied menu: pasta, seafood, burgers, grills, salad, soup, rice and sides. Also hot and cold drinks, milkshakes and mocktails. Leave room for our exquisite desserts. The Lounge, 417 Lincoln Road, Peterborough. Call 01733 709 306 to order for delivery. The Lounge, friendly service with a great atmosphere.
If you ask me, why do I stand here so unafraid of everything around me? Proudly I say,
Broadcasting 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. This is Salaam Radio.
Hello, welcome back after the break. So you've joined us on Salaam Radio. This is Drive at 5 and I'm Shariqua Ahmed. and we were talking about mental health. We were talking about mental health awareness, mental health disorders, and how as a community, as as a society, we need to do more and need to talk more about this. We heard earlier from Sylvia, who had called us and shared her experiences, and we were talking to Sister Safura before we went for the break. She's still on the line with us and talking to us. Sister Safura, are you still there?
Alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Thank you for waiting so patiently. So we were talking about mental health earlier, and we were talking about the alarming statistics about of the world, mental health. Before we wrap up on that topic, I know you do a lot as the initiative, Lantern Initiative. Part of that initiative, you're doing a lot. The initiative does a lot. But what else can we do as individuals and as a community, to create more awareness about mental health?
Sure, yeah. So I think really, I think we just need to be a bit more open about mental health. In the same way that we would never advise somebody with a broken leg to just pray more Quran or read more Salah or make more dua. In the same way, when someone has a mental health issue, we shouldn't be just dishing out this advice in an insensitive manner, and making people think that the reason they have mental health problems is just because they're a weak Muslim or that they don't pray enough. I mean, obviously, we know that the benefits of praying, reading Quran and making dua are immense, and there's no doubt about that. But I think that, we have to kind of train our communities up really, re-educate them on how to treat mental health problems in the same way as we treat a physical problem. Just because you can't see a mental illness doesn't mean that somebody is perfectly okay.
So true.
And then another thing I wanted to bring up as well was about women in particular. So 1 in 5 women will develop a mental health problem during pregnancy or in their first year after childbirth.
Yes.
Now, as communities, I don't know if enough is being done to look after new mums or, pregnant women or women who've just had babies, because they are vulnerable and their mental health is, it needs looking after. And I think that as soon as we start to ignore things like postnatal depression and anxieties and stuff, it's quite dangerous, because then this is when we have problems whereby young women are suffering and unable to tell anybody, unable to open up to anyone. And we've all heard stories in the news about young women who take their lives, women who just had a baby and have been going through severe postnatal depression. I mean, these are just, some examples I'm giving you, that, there are lots and lots of issues in the community that we need to be more aware of. But also, another thing is that the number of medicines that are being dispensed for, anxiety, depression, obsessive compulsive disorder, panic attacks, all of these things, the number of medicines have more than doubled in the past 10 years. So I think really we need to be asking ourselves what we can do to help ourselves move away from conventional, medical treatment like that, and perhaps, look into more talking therapies, into counselling, into social support, because, there are statistics that show that, people who talk more and who socialise better have far better mental health and well-being. So as a community, I think we should be able to do these things. We should be able to create these networks, these sorts of support groups for people in the community, so that we don't let it get to that point where they have to hide their condition and that they end up on antidepressants for the rest of their lives.
That I completely agree with you, because once you start getting onto those antidepressants, there's probably, less chance of getting off them, because they are quite addictive, as far as I've heard and as far as I've seen. That's a really important point you made.
There's a time. Yeah, obviously there's a time and a place, and I think that, depending on how severe the depression is, medication is often needed. But I think that unless the person seeks help and their individual needs are assessed, they won't actually know, what is best for them at that time. But what I'm trying to get at is that if we look after our communities better and we have, support networks and sort of socializing kind of opportunities available, I think that people are less likely to go down the route of becoming severely depressed. So when you have mild to moderate depression, there are lots of other ways that you can look at to heal it yourself, rather than letting it get to that stage where then you may end up on drugs.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for talking to us about this and sharing your thoughts on mental health. And, it's wonderful what your initiative is doing. And we hope we get to see more of such initiatives come along. And just as a community and a society, we can grow together and accept that mental health is an issue, but we can also together try to solve this and make it better for everyone. Sister, before you're most welcome. Before you go, we were also going to be talking about in the second half of the show, which we've just started, about the Muslim Council of Britain, going to train. It said that it's going to train more women to run mosques. It's obviously a positive step, and I know because I did a piece a few months ago for another, media organization, about how Peterborough was setting a very positive example with, number of women participants and women volunteers in mosques, organizing events, be it coffee mornings, be it just being involved in other, for example, the open day, mosque open day, that event. So women were quite involved in this and actively taking part. What do you think about this step that MCB has decided to take? What are your thoughts about this?
Yeah, I think it's a great step. I think women should be more involved in the running of mosques. And I'm just going to give you a couple of reasons. I know there are lots and lots of different reasons for why this is a good thing. But I think really that women, especially mothers, I think are best placed to understand the needs of the future generations of their children, and also the needs of women themselves. And I think, if we have them in mosques making decisions and helping to plan events and the various things that go on in mosques, I think we get a far better outcome because the actual needs will be met. And I'm not saying that men don't understand them, but I'm saying that males traditionally as breadwinners tend to not spend as much time with the families or with the young children, and they may not fully understand the needs that exist. So I think it's very important for mothers especially to be involved in the running of mosques. And I think this has actually been quite evident in other mosques where women have been more involved. I think that when you look at some of the programs they run and how successful their madrasa programs are, they have been very, very successful. So that's just one aspect. Another thing that I'm going to bring up from a personal point of view is that I've been to mosques up and down the UK when we've been visiting other places and found that they have no space for women to pray. And I think that especially in this day and age when it's difficult for a woman to just stand up and pray on the street or in a park or anywhere, I think that we need to give women safe spaces to pray. A woman should be able to go into any mosque and be able to pray, be given that space. Imagine you're out shopping or you've gone somewhere to visit, a town where you don't know anybody. I mean, would you be expected to miss your prayers, or would you be expected to stand as a woman on the pavement outside and pray on your own? Or I'm not quite sure what some of these mosques are thinking when they prevent women from attending the mosque. And there aren't huge numbers of women wanting to attend mosques. I think there's a minority.
Yeah.
But I think if women choose to do so, I think, Islamically we know that they shouldn't be stopped. And I think that opportunity should be there for them. I don't think they should be prevented from wanting to pray in a space.
No, absolutely. I completely agree with you. And I think mosques also double up as community centers more often, It's a place where people come together and meet, and it would be beneficial if, the children and mothers could go to these mosques together for activities and for prayers. So I definitely agree with what you're saying. Thank you very much, Sister, for joining us today and talking to us and sharing these wonderful things with us. Really, really appreciate it.
No
Thank you
worries,
so much.
you.
Thank you. Allah Hafiz.
Alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. That was Sister Safura Houghton joining us and talking to us about mental health, as well as our second topic for the day. We're talking about Muslim Council of Britain announcing it said that it's going to train more women to run mosques. So wonderful initiative, wonderful positive step, and I'm sure a lot of women have welcomed this across the country. We're going to be talking more about this, and we have another special guest joining us. But first, we're going to listen to another nasheed and come back. And more on this. You can give us a call and, share your views as well on what you think. The number is 01733 602 133. You can also text us and WhatsApp us on 07745 278 978. Do come back after this.
sands kissed your feet while the winds brushed your face, and I long to be in the warmth of your embrace. Oh, the tears fell from your eyes as you cried for us, and upon my Lord is all of my trust. 'Cause oh, you are a mercy to mankind, and oh, you bring an ease to my mind. Mawlaya salli wa sallim daiman abadan ala habibika khairil khalqi kullihim. Mawlaya salli wa sallim daiman abadan ala habibika khairil khalqi kullihim. Not a day goes by where I'm not reminded of the trials you faced, prayers recited, the words left your blessed tongue, changing the world. Your love turns the darkest hearts into the brightest souls. 'Cause oh, you are a mercy to mankind, and oh, you bring an ease to my mind. Na na na, 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 na. If I could stare into your eyes for just a moment, I would live a million lives, all worth living. To stare into your eyes for just a moment, I would live a million lives, all worth living. Hold me, my beloved, say my name and call me. Hold me, my beloved, 'cause I love you. Hold me, my beloved, say my name and call me. Hold me, my beloved, 'cause I love you. Mawlaya salli wa sallim daiman abadan ala habibika khairil khalqi kullihim. Mawlaya salli wa sallim daiman abadan ala habibika khairil khalqi kullihim. Mawlaya salli wa sallim daiman abadan ala habibika khairil khalqi kullihim.
Assalamu alaikum. You're listening to Drive at 5 with me, Shariqua Ahmed. And, we were talking about two very interesting topics. First half, we spoke quite a lot about mental health and how we need to do more and raise more awareness about this. And we had two lovely women calling us, and, they were our special guests for the evening. Now we're talking about the Muslim Council of Britain, going to be training more women to run mosques, and more women, they're going to be involved in mosques. I have a very special guest here, Mr. Raza Hussain Rahim. He's the Vice Chairman of the Joint Mosque Council for Peterborough. He's also the executive, of the Muslim Council of Britain for Peterborough. And he was the past chairman of the Hussaini Islamic Centre, again, for Peterborough. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate it. It's a fantastic step. I'm sure a lot of people have been, taking this very positively, that more women are going to be trained to run mosques.
Yes, I think it's very good to hear this. But MCB has been looking at the initiatives for quite some time as to how we can train our ladies. But there are many aspects of how women in our mosques and in our community need to be empowered. I think there are lots of messages, and to get the right message, we have to go back to the history in Islam. And we see the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, and how his daughter, Lady Fatima Zahra, how she was there, and how she was there for the Prophet when he went out to Taif, beaten by rocks and bleeding, but she was there to support. And it's not only the support. it was the question of how she took initiative about the ladies in Islam, in Medina. She used to gather them together and discuss social affairs, how to bring up your children, what to do. And there are many examples of ladies in Islam that we should really look at. And even recently, we have been commemorating Muharram, for example, the martyrdom of Imam Hussein in Karbala. But that could have just itself been buried in Karbala in the desert had it not been for Lady Zainab, the daughter of Imam Ali, who went round and propagated the message of the fact that tyranny cannot live and righteousness has to live. So ladies have a great role, and I'm very pleased to hear that we are looking at proper training, and I will talk to you about sort of things, processes that we have over the last 15 years put in place at Burton Street Mosque. But it's very important that ladies are empowered. And one of the things we have done at a regional level in Europe for our communities is that we have set up LDP course, leadership development courses, in which the ladies are empowered, they are told how they can utilize all the talent that they have and work with the communities, because ladies are at the forefront. When you look at it, our madrasa, we have 70%, we have got about 70 teachers, but of that 70% are ladies who have come forward, trained themselves, got trained, and they are now leading in the forefront. At the Husseini Islamic Center, we've got some very good practice to share as regards to ladies is concerned. One of the things that we do is that our ladies are actually elected into the main management committee. So they sit with the rest of the management committee running the mosques, so they can have their input. But not only that, it's unfortunate, I think one or two ladies from the ladies committee were going to come today, but it was a last minute notice for them. They run their own programs. They have been empowered to have a budget. They invite their speakers. They arrange the programs. They have various social programs. They even arrange things like karate and other activities. And they are leaders in lots of ways. For example, if there is a bereavement, there is a bereavement committee of the ladies. There are seniors. They go and see people who are sick. And there is so much contribution that the ladies can do. But yes, I think this training will help a long way to enable ladies to take active part. I was listening to one of yours on the telephone just now on the radio, and she was saying about mosques being open for the ladies. Very important point.
Sister Safura, yes.
Yes, Sister Safura. Yes. She made a very valid point. I think the mosques have to be open to ladies. Ladies have to be able to participate in all these functions that are there. They don't. If they have commitments, fine. But if they can make it, they should, and they should have more specific programs for themselves to get together, to discuss, to actually run their organization. So the model we have in Burton Street, alhamdulillah, is good at present. We have a chair lady who runs the whole ladies section with her team of people who within the ladies who help. And they just work with the men together to try and make sure that the programs are delivered.
Alhamdulillah, that sounds wonderful. And like I said, Peterborough actually has, I think most of its mosques are very women friendly, and they have a lot of women participation in their committees. And it's setting a very good example, because I remember there was an article that came out a couple of months ago about how 1 in 3 mosques in the UK do not have facilities to, offer space for women, basically. And there was a campaign that going around, Open My Mosque. So Peterborough was setting a very good example, and what you mentioned about how women have their own activities and how they're given their own space, and it's wonderful, because at the end of the day, it means that you're empowering women, you're giving them that freedom to, you can do this, go ahead and do this, that confidence So it's wonderful to see that in our community, and it's so nice to see that it's getting encouraged in our community.
Absolutely. And if you go to any mosque, Faizan Medina,
Yes.
it's a beautiful mosque. And when you look upstairs, the section for the ladies, the number of ladies that participate in the activities, and it should be more now. More and more ladies should come out.
Yes.
There is a beautiful facility. Let us all take part and be part of our community. Because when you think about it, when a woman grows up, we are not only, that woman is not only growing, it's a whole humanity that's developing.
Humanity, exactly.
And the key is that every child that is being brought up by that woman, if she understands the true values of Islam, if she understands the true values of humanity, our children will then be the true Muslims of the community.
Absolutely, that's so true. You know what you said. They say when you educate a woman, you educate the entire, society or community. So that was a really valid point you made over there. And I'm sure a lot of people have welcomed the step like you have, MCB training, a lot of women. I was trying to get in touch with someone from Masjid Khatija, Sister Tahira, because she attended this event over the weekend, but unfortunately she couldn't be here. But again, it's wonderful to see women coming forward. I get really inspired when I see these women because they're all doing it on a voluntary basis. They have their own activities, they have their own jobs, they have their own families, but they're still taking out time, like the men, of course. And these men and women are coming together and doing this on a voluntary basis. So it's, alhamdulillah, it's really, really nice to see
alhamdulillah, this is the key thing about our communities. People don't believe how much voluntary time goes in, how much resources. Some of these ladies have commitment with the children, with the family, but yet they will keep on putting this time. And the key thing with the MCB initiative, which you talked about the sister who attended, I have seen how it is delivered as well, nationally and internationally, in some of the programs that I've attended when they were delivering this leadership development courses. And they are very good. They are actually empowering people to understand first their responsibilities as trustees of the mosque. They are actually there to develop their personalities so that they can understand what their strengths are and how they can use them for the community. And it empowers them, it gives them the confidence, whether it's women or men. I think we all need leadership training to understand our roles and what our responsibilities are.
Absolutely. That was really useful what you said, and really, amazing to hear from you and how your mosque is also setting a really good example of women volunteers and people in the committee. Just before we let you go, would you like to comment on our topic that from the first half of the show, mental health, because it's the Mental Health Awareness Week, and we were speaking about mental health. As a community, as a society, where do we stand? Do you think we need to do more, or do you think work is being done on mental health?
I think it's a very important topic. We have had some very interesting discussion, even with one consultant in Cambridge, which was arranged, who was a mental health specialist and is a Muslim from Egypt. And he discussed how we sometimes marginalize people with mental health, how we just use religious points of views to actually subdue them rather than help them. And I think this initiative that you talk about is Lenten initiative.
Yes, we did mention.
Beautiful initiative. I know that they did a very good movie at the Key Theatre to enable people to understand the issues. You see, we lived in a society in Pakistan, in India, in East Africa, wherever we came from, where people were just cared for. But when we live in this very challenging society we are here, our elders are living longer, they have a need, there are many types of illnesses or many types of mental challenges that need help. And I think it's a very important issue. We need to understand from Islamic perspective in depth. I think a detailed discussion should be held about this, and we should not dismiss it. We should actually take it as a challenge going forward to look after our elders. Our parents and our elders have brought us where we are. They need us now.
Yes.
What can we do for them?
That was wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And, like you said, we should look after our elders because they brought us here so far and they need us. Thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your thoughts with us on both our topics. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Jazakallah. Thank you.
That was Raza Hussain Rahim, sharing his really valuable inputs with us. Well, I think we had a wonderful show today. I really enjoyed talking about both our topics, mental health as well as the MCB training more women. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. I hope, all our Salaam Radio listeners really enjoyed it and, enjoyed listening to this. And I'm sure you had valuable points, but maybe you can share it with us on Facebook. But always, you can still call us and share your thoughts. Keep listening to Salaam Radio, and I look forward to coming back to you next Monday, same time, 5 p.m. So please do join us, and we'll have a lot more for you next week. Allah Hafiz.
Stay tuned to Salaam Radio after this short ad break.